So this is courtesy of KCCI News. Kelsey Plum said, I'm actually very grateful to pass that baton. I'm very happy for her." And she talked about when she hit that scoring mark. It was sort of a low part of her life, and and how she's happy that Caitlyn is going to be able um to to hit that mark. So here's what Kelsey Plum said. She said, "I remember it was very much a low part of my life. I felt like a lot of pressure. It felt like a lot of pressure. My identity was kind of caught up in their record. I hope everyone in the media takes time to understand that Caitlin Clark is not just a basketball player, but a young woman that has feelings and emotions. She carries it with grace, but there's a lot to handle there." So I thought that was like great perspective that Kelsey Plum gave to everyone. Um, and here's also what she said. She said, in terms of Caitlin Clark's mental health, she said, "That's someone you know who has good days and bad days. Make sure she's checked in on and see how she's doing. That's to me what I care about most, and I I wish I had someone that stepped up and cared about that when I was going through it." So I thought, like, you know, that's just Kelsey Plum just being awesome. I thought that was a great thing I thought that was like awesome that Kelsey Plum said that, because like we know that she's very like open about the struggles that she's had before, and her time sort of in that later part of her time at Washington. For Kelsey Plum, she wasn't mentally in the best space, and I thought that it's awesome that she's just sort of looking out for Caitlyn in that way. Um, and as we all talk about Caitlin Clark and what she's doing, and whether people like or dislike the media focus that's around her, I think it's important just to remember, like, as as Kelsey Plum said, remember her humanity, remember who she is as a um as a person, not just as a basketball player. Um, so I thought that was a great comment. I just wanted to share it with everybody because I think sometimes it's good to have that type of perspective, because I feel like a lot of times people kind of get in their camps, and they, you know, say whatever they want to say about a player, and forget the fact that these players are real human beings, and they're real human beings that have real thoughts, real feelings, real emotions, and you can't be reckless, right? And I think that goes, for a lot of things, right? I think in terms of like commentary about a lot of people, I think people tend to be a bit reckless, you know. Um these players are not robots, you know. They're not robots. They're individuals who are ballers, very good basketball players. And they also have emotions, they have thoughts, they have feelings, they have lots of stuff um, going on. And it's important to just sort of yeah, it's important to just sort of recognize that, right? Um, and actually, I actually have audio of that part of the interview. So instead of me just talking it out, you all might appreciate it more if you can actually just hear it from the horse's mouth. I'm not calling Kelsey Plum a horse, just saying that is an expression. All right, so let's listen to what Kelsey Plum had to say. It's basically what I just said, but you can actually hear her say it for herself. Oh wait, I have this muted.
Being a point guard, being a facilitator for this team. So that's really all I'm focused on right now.
And how do you feel about the potential for Caitlin to break your record, your scoring record?
No, I'm excited for her. It's really cool to see her do what she's doing, bring attention to the game. So I'm happy for her. You know, it's not a matter of if but when.
Yeah.
So no, it's been really cool to see her kind of take off and what she's doing. She's doing at such a high level. So it'll be cool.
About the potential to compete against her when she enters the league.
Yeah, I like competing against everyone.
Oh, Brady, what up?
Yeah, so that's another piece of what Kelsey Plum had to say. Yeah. So guys, I did just want to let you all know what was going on that front. Yeah. Let me know what y'all think about what Kelsey Plum had to say. Rube says this is awesome, a Plum dog. Facts. Absolutely. Catherine says really gracious on KP's part to say that. Yep. Oh, someone has had a question about Teresa Weatherspoon. I call her Teaspoon. But yes, yeah, that's her nickname, Teaspoon. But yeah, her name is Teresa Weatherspoon. America says, "Yep, Plum dog doing Plum dog things." Facts. maybe I'll separate this out and make the video Plum dog doing Plum dog things. Nina says she was still first round draft pick and felt the pressure. If anything, Caitlin Clark would feel even more pressure right now. Not saying anything either way, but she's a human at the end of the day. So that was in response to my phone, but I didn't see my phone's comment. Here we go. My phone says Caitlin. Also, everybody. I have noticed this as a thing in the different comments for live streams and just for regular comments for videos. Caitlin, her name is not spelled with a Y. All right. Yeah, it is not spelled with a Y. If you're trying to spell Caitlin Clark's name, it is CAITLIN. All right. My phone, this is not directed towards you. It's just I feel like every day when I look at my comments, I see at least 10 people spell Caitlin Clark's name wrong. So I just wanted to, for those watching, her name does not have a Y in it. And also I've seen people use a K instead of a C for her name. So it's a C. CAITLIN. Caitlin. My phone says Caitlin looks to be enjoying her journey, not dismissing what Kelsey is saying, but Caitlin is the top of women's basketball world right now. When Kelsey did it, it wasn't viewed in the same light. I mean, I was a big women's basketball fan at the time when Kelsey Plum was doing her thing, and like Kelsey Plum's name was everywhere. And also, you know, it's important to know, just because from the outside looking in, you know, it looks like a certain situation is what it is. It may not be the case. There's a lot of people who do suffer in silence. I am not saying that is Caitlin Clark's case, but there's things that people can be going through that you have no idea because they put on a brave face and whatnot. And I think what Kelsey Plum is reminding us is that our words, the word that we say about someone, there is someone on the other end receiving those words, and people are humans. And they have they go through stuff, and so really, you know, we should be mindful of that, and recognize the humanity in everybody, whether that's Caitlin, whether that's you know, whether that's folks in the chat, whether that's Kyra, America, Nina, Xavier, like there's someone on the other end of what you say, And so it's important for us to have that in mind and really recognize the humanity in other people and not just think of other people as robots or people to be argued with or like, in a negative way. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that made sense. Country says people say horrible things because they can hide behind the internet. Yeah. Yeah. I think I saw like I've been seeing that since I've started this channel. I've seen lots of like um I've seen like crazy ends of the spectrum of humanity. I've seen people um uh be very gracious about what other people are doing and take good faith thoughts about what's going on. Um and I've seen the opposite end of where people dislike what someone had to say about someone, so they say the worst about them, or they're like, I hate this person, and like, y'all, hate's a strong word, you know. Do you really, you know? Country, I think you're absolutely right because when you can't see somebody, you you think the worst of them sometimes, and you say things that I don't believe people would say if they were sitting across the room from each other. There's stuff that I've seen people say about Caitlin Clark that I'm just like, why would you say that about somebody? Especially about a kid. I mean, yes, she's 22, but like she's she's a young adult who's still trying to figure out her life. You know, there's stuff that people have said about her that I'm just like, how could you say that? There's stuff that I've seen people say about each other in different comments on Twitter, on YouTube, and whatnot. And I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like, where's the humanity, guys? Where's the humanity? And then I saw like y'all saw yesterday's video that I did about yesterday's version of Women's Basketball Weekly, where people were just wild in the comments and saying stuff about Cheryl Swoops that I'm just like, really? like, you, like, I'm just saying, like, I think we as society have to get we have to get back to being civil with people. We have to start thinking about um, the goodness in people and not just sort of taking everything that someone says um, in bad faith. And I don't know if we can get to a better spot as like women's basketball fans, as society. You know, I just feel like everything is just negative, 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 negative. Like, and it's just like and people just want a reason to hate someone else or to say something bad because maybe they're having a rough day and it helps them to put someone else down or what. But like um it's wild. But I just say one thing, y'all better start praying. I'm just saying, like, talk to God, man. Don't get all of that hate out of you. Because people are there's someone on the other side of everything you say. So that was a huge rant, and I apologize for that. But actually, I don't apologize for it. We need to be more civil as people. We need to be way more civil as people. Um, Country says, "Thank you, Quita. You have a growing platform. Thanks for using it so eloquently. I appreciate that, Country. Like I really do strive to do that. Like I really do strive to do that." Nina says, I'm 22 and thank God every day I don't have a spotlight on my biggest mistakes. Yeah, like that. Can y'all imagine how rough that is? How messed up that is that like, you know, anything that's done is reported on, and not just reported on, like it's one thing for people to just report on it, but like for people to like misconstrue what you do in lots of different ways. Like you have to be super careful about what you say. You have to be super careful about your hand gestures, about like, like That's a huge magnifying glass on some 22-year-olds. Like that that is a huge magnifying glass. Lou says, I'm not sure about the negative things people have been saying about Caitlyn. It comes with the territory, unfortunately. Hope she has a strong sense of self and a strong support system. Yeah, I really do hope she has great people around her that can lift her up when she sees terrible stuff happen. Terrible stuff said about her online. For the J Spot Network, they said facts, country. People love to be uh, internet gangsters because they know they won't be held accountable. That is for sure a thing. Absolutely. Marcus says, I can't imagine how hard it is dealing with all of this stuff, especially when not many female hoopers have been in the same position as Caitlin Clark in right now, hype wise and fame wise. Yeah, I tell you this, Caitlin Clark is in unprecedented territories. Yes, yes. Back when Kelsey Plum was doing her thing, she had a lot of attention. Back when Asia Wilson was still hooping at South Carolina, she had a lot of attention. Back when Candace Parker was hooping at Tennessee, a lot of attention. You go down the list. Brianna Stewart at UConn, Sue Bird and Dinah Taurasi at UConn. Lots of hype, lots of hype, lots of hype. However, I feel like this where we're at is just times 10 of what previous top talent in the WNBA has experienced, because you have the convergence of a lot of things. You have peak social media. You have everything being recorded. You have hot takes up the wazoo, you know, and that just leads to a lot of that leads to stuff being a little bit tougher for the Caitlin Clarks of the world, the Angel Reeses of the world, you know. Phil said the internet is truly a double-edged sword. Facts, yeah. You see the greatest parts of humanity and you see the worst parts of humanity on the same platform. It really is kind of wild. John says, I'm not an Aces fan, but that's why I really like Asia. She seems to be quiet and lets her play do the talking. Yeah, like Asia's style is great. Yeah. Also, she just released a book, guys. I don't know. I'm not much of a reader, but if you all are a reader, you may want to get her new book. Erlis says, yes, more civility needed. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Marcus says, I'm rooting for y'all. Hopefully seeing Caitlin's success and putting y'all on the map make recruits come to y'all. Marcus also said, interesting. Marcus also said, I saw this tweet on Twitter, but Caitlin Clark's probably the first female hooper that people hate for non-sexist reasons, which says a lot about how far women's basketball has come. I guess on the positive side, I guess it shows. Yes. Nina says, I'm convinced that 99% of Caitlin Clark haters are 30-year-old men who smoke weed in their high school parking lots. Why? Interesting characterization. What? I don't know. What makes you think that? I'm very curious as to what makes you think that. Xavier says it's because we invest so much time, money, etc. into sports to the point that it's becomes comfortable to say things without a filter or compassion. Not saying it's right, but I get it. Xavier, I think you're onto something. I really do think you're onto something. That is a huge factor, right? That's a huge factor of where we are. I think you have something. I really do appreciate you sharing that comment because yeah, you Yeah, you got something. Y'all let me know if y'all agree with what Xavier had to say, cuz I think you're right. I think you have a point because people have invested. They feel like they're in it, and they feel like they could say anything however they like, regardless of how wild it is, you know? David says, I understand people can make mistakes, but also you can apologize for making a mistake. That is also something that's acceptable. Absolutely. Absolutely, David. Like yeah, I think if you get it wrong, say you got it wrong and you're sorry about that, and you'll my bad. I'll try to make sure I'm on point next time, you know? Absolutely. It's never a problem to apologize. And I for one am, I try my best to, like, when people call stuff out, like, be like, oh man, my bad. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's important to acknowledge, when you don't get it right. Acknowledge it, try to correct it in the future and move on. Absolutely. Rube says facts. People need to get that hate out of their hearts. Please, yeah, please get that hate out of your hearts. Because sometimes I'm just like, man, like, what's going on with people? Like, we need to, yeah, yeah. Catherine says, you're right, Quita. Let's use our comments to show care and to encourage others. Absolutely. And it is okay to be critical. Like, I am, and I'm not saying you think this, Catherine, but for those listening, I want to make sure that folks are not thinking that I am saying we should say the best. We should only say good things. That's not what I'm saying. Be critical, absolutely, but in you being critical, think about it on the other end. If I was listening if I was on the receiving end of what I'm giving someone else, would I be okay with that? And if the answer is no, maybe the message is still the same, but the way that you're saying it is different, right? Um, it's okay to be critical. Absolutely. I have been critical about players. I've been critical about coaches on this channel. I will continue to be. But there's a difference between pointing out different stuff that people can improve on and dogging someone and assuming the worst out of someone, right? There's a difference between that. And I did just want to state that for the folks watching who may be thinking that I'm saying always be positive. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's a civil way to say what you want to say without tearing down someone, right? So um Marcus said, I mean, it's not my observation, it's some dude on Twitter who said that, but he's right. Um Next to Air said Angel Reese gets it the worst. I don't know who gets it the worst or who gets it the best. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Caitlyn gets it the worst. I don't know if Angel gets it the worst. All I know is it sucks. That's what I know. I know it sucks, and we as basketball fans, um, I think we need to encourage better of others. If we are not the ones participating in it, I think we need to um, try to help steer the conversation in a better tone. I mean, of course, there's no need to argue with other people and whatnot, but like, I don't know. I think there's a way for us to engage without sinking low down to like the people who want to sort of muck it up and say horrible stuff about people, right? Um Philip says we as people have to use more empathy, which is simply the ability to understand and share the feeling of another. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, guys. And this is not really intended to have. This wasn't the conversation that I intended to have on during the stream, but I really do think it's important. I really do think this conversation is important for us to have. Nolan says, great conversations here. Basketball and a heart emoji. Yeah, absolutely. Like this is very needed. Marcus says, absolutely, the hate on Angel be bothering me because they be calling her vile, like hood rat and all kinds of yeah. And it's like, why? You don't even know this girl. Like what are you talking about? Like why you like you know that song I don't actually know the song, but like sometimes if I'm in a store, it's like it's some song that's like they say, "Why you gotta be so rude? Don't you know I'm human?" Is it "Don't you know I'm human too?" I think. I don't know. Anyway, that's what makes you I'm just like, why you gotta be so rude, man? Like what makes you want to say that about somebody? Like especially about somebody that you don't even know. You've never met, never will meet. Why? like, you know, it makes me wonder. It really does. It really does make me wonder. Let's see. Marcus says, I remember how much mess Angel caught from Natty, and it was way out of hand. RC says, I know people are messy, but I never had anything against Angel Reese until she and her teammates were the opponents in the national title game. And that's cool. Like, absolutely. You know, when a team faces or a player faces against your team, yes, you know, boo them. If you're in the stands, boo them. Jeer when they're shooting the free throw. Like, yes, absolutely. Be a fan and want your team to destroy them. But outside of that, you know, these are humans. Tyron says they really hate on Caitlin Clark. She will definitely dominate. Brianna Stewart was the MVP. She's not much better. She's not that much better. What? Than Caitlin Clark? Their skill sets. What? Oh, Tyron. So I would not. You know. I would not. Personally, I would not compare Caitlin Clark to Brianna Stewart. They're two completely different players. Maybe if you want to compare Caitlin Clark to like a guard of some sort, okay, maybe. But Brianna Stewart's a post player. Very very different player than Caitlin Clark. I personally I don't see real similarities in their game at all, really. So agree to disagree on that front. But your point, the point that I think you're making is that Caitlin Clark will be a great player in the WNBA, and that she will eventually be an MVP. And to your point of that, which if that's your point, then yes, I would agree with that. I do believe that Caitlin Clark is going to be a great player in the WNBA. Will she dominate right away? No, I don't believe so. I think it's going to take a couple years for her to really dial into the WNBA. That does not mean she's not going to be the rookie of the year. She likely will. She also could even be in the All-Star game. Probably will be in the All-Star game. She's going to get the votes for it. But eventually will, let's say 4 or 5 years down the road, will she win MVP? Yeah, I think so. but no, I don't agree with the comparison of Brianna Stewart and Caitlin Clark. They're two completely different players. Um Xavier says Caitlyn versus Angel is wonderful for the sport though. The good and the bad, as long as the eyes are on women's basketball, I'm here for it. Yeah. And I am here for, fan bases back and forth, not liking each other and all that stuff. Like I am here, I'm here for it. Um I and that's not a problem. And rivalries bring a lot of stuff to the that brings a lot of stuff to bringing fans to the games and all that stuff. Like I love that. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with people not liking Angel Reese. I don't have a problem with people not liking Caitlin Clark. To me, that's not an issue. But when you start to call people out their names, make up a whole bunch of stuff about them, projecting a whole bunch of stuff about them. To me, that's when you step a little bit too far. But I have no problems with people sort of getting at each other um, um, uh, against different fan bases. I don't have a problem with that. Shani says, Quita, I'm sorry. It's mostly Iowa fans who are extremely disrespectful to Angel all the time. Um, Uh, oh, wants me to call. Okay. All right, J Bug. I'll call you J Bug. Do y'all remember J Bug from what was it, B2K? Wasn't there a J Bug in B2K? All right. J Bug says, Quita, I'm reading Asia's book right now. It's really good. Also, yeah, yeah. I will call you either J or J Bug for sure. But yeah, do y'all remember J Bug from B2K? I feel like I'm remembering that, right? Isn't there a J Bug from B2K? I used to be a big B2K fan back in the day. Um yeah, all the girls were big B2K fans back in the day, and all the guys couldn't stand B2K. Tasha said, I got Asia's book in the mail. I'm excited to read it. Oh, nice, nice. Braxton says, how do you feel about Billings to the Sparks? I have no idea. I've been so focused on the Chicago Sky that I I don't have any thoughts right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll have some thoughts later for sure. Marcus says I'm definitely rooting for Angel. She's out here doing things for the culture. Um Nina says it's just to clarify her point earlier, it's just the same people I associate with the people who hate on women's sports more general. Okay, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Um let's see. David says, and Cheryl Swoops never apologized. Yeah, it, I mean, if she has, I haven't seen it. So I'll take your word for it, David. Yeah. I mean, she should apologize. I mean, she got it wrong. I mean, not necessarily like, I'm so sorry, Caitlin. No, but like, oh, my bad. I got it wrong. I'll make sure I got my facts straight next time, or next time when I'm talking about a player, I'll pull up their stat sheet and make sure I'm accurate. Like, um, why hasn't she done that? I don't know. I'm not Cheryl Swoops. I don't know her. But yeah, she should say publicly, like, hey, I got it wrong. And maybe she did, and maybe she did, and I just didn't see it. So this is not me saying either way, whether she did or didn't. If she didn't, I would say she should. Yeah. RC says, I'm just wondering if I missed the part of the video where Cheryl Swoops are talking a little greasy on Caitlyn and Angel. I mean, I included uh um the Caitlin Clark part in yesterday's edition of Women's Basketball Weekly. She was wrong about some stuff. She was wrong about quite a few things about Caitlin Clark, Cheryl Swoops, but I I didn't take it that she was saying anything with any ill intent. She was just misinformed about the Caitlin Clark stuff. BBCL says the WNBA has politics, but we need a meta world peace too. I like what you did there, y'all. If y'all didn't get that, Ron Artest changed his name to Meta World Peace. I love that. I love that. I love that. Xavier says Bird versus Magic saved the NBA. I believe Caitlin and Angel are saving women's basketball in the same way. Yeah, fair. Fair. Yes. Shani says, or Shani, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, says, but you can't give an opinion about Clark without people saying something. Everyone doesn't have to like her game. Yes, facts. Yeah. There are some people who just don't like the way Caitlin Clark plays. That's fine. There's some people who can't stand the way Asia Wilson plays, and that's fine. There's you know, you may think that they're wild, and they may be wild in their opinions about that, but it is what it is. It's not everybody has to like everything. It's fine. Some people like apples, some people like oranges. Some people don't like either one, and some people like bananas instead. I'm just saying, Earlis says constructive criticism positive. Yeah. Lou says, I don't think it's about people feeling so invested. People who don't even watch will offer an opinion just because they can. Well, that's true as well. That that is true as well. My phone says athletics have always been an outlet for aggression for both players and fans. Yes, there are extremes, but I don't want to watch group therapy sessions and sneakers. You can't have love without hate. What? So my response to you is yes, athletics is a great outlet for aggression for both players and fans. Absolutely. And I think on the court, let's get after it. Yes, let's cheer like crazy, let's boo like crazy, let's do all the things during the game, leading up to it, all that stuff. Nope, I have no problem with that. Absolutely. I don't want to see I do not want to see a group therapy session in sneakers. I don't. I want these players to, when they're on the court competing against each other, I don't want them to like each other. I don't. We saw LSU versus South Carolina what, like 2 weeks ago or whatever, and Raven Johnson and Angel Reese are really good friends. But on that court, they weren't friends that day. Nope. I want to beat you. I don't want to see group therapy sessions on in sneakers. I don't. But I also think that sometimes we as people reach the extreme of stuff when it doesn't have to be. I don't think you have to hate a person. I don't think people have to hate Angel Reese because you don't like her game. You don't like her game. You don't want maybe you don't want her to be successful or like whatever. People have their different feelings about certain players and whatnot, and what I kind of say that's fine. People can have different thoughts about stuff, but I think there is a just a level of mean spiritedness that exists that just, I don't know, it just bothers me, this is not, and I'm not someone who's like is interested in what you're saying with the group therapy sessions and sneakers. I don't want that. I don't want to watch that. I wouldn't want to watch that if that was a basketball game. But can we not be so extreme? Can we not be so extreme? That's that's my question. That's my question. For us all, as fans. Um, Lou says platforms like yours, Quita, does its part to balance out the equation with love. Thank you, Lou. And I really do try to do that. I really do. I really, really do. Yes, Xavier. I agree with that. I agree with that. Um, Xavier says, think about the WNBA rivalry / narratives that don't get enough coverage. WNBA needs more stories for fans to follow and invest into. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I completely agree with that. Let's do a Magic versus Bird thing with Angel and Caitlin. I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Braxis says, as of today, can we get a WNBA power rankings from you? Yeah, I will give you a top 5. And this is just based off of my thoughts today. This may change, 2 weeks from now or whatever. So at number 1, I got the Las Vegas Aces. Number 2, I have the Seattle Storm. There's some people who have the New York Liberty at number 2, but I have the Seattle Storm at number 2. Number 3, I have the New York Liberty. Number 4, I have the Phoenix Mercury with the asterisk around them. And number 5, I have the Dallas Wings with another asterisk around them. So I could see Phoenix and Dallas sort of switching. So it's sort of like who's going to be number 4, who's going to be number 5. If Atlanta Deladon goes to Phoenix, then Phoenix is yes the 4 in my power rankings. If she doesn't go to Phoenix, then I would say Dallas is my 4. So in terms of my thoughts around those picks, I would say that the Aces, because they're still the head honchos, 2-time WNBA champs, and they're just still rocking their thing. Like they're just still doing it, and to me, they are still the team to beat. The reason why I say the Seattle Storm is because the Seattle Storm has built a team of players who are ballers. Yes, they have a big 3, right? But they also have Ezzy Magmagor. They also have Jordan Horston, who are players who are on the rise, and I think will be even better this year. And Ezzy she was a All-Star last year, and so they're going to be both very good. The reason why I put them over New York is because New York showed me last year that they are not ready, and I haven't seen any changes on New York's roster that proves to me that they are ready. When the biggest moment came in the WNBA Finals, the Las Vegas Aces were down 2 starters. Two starters. And the New York Liberty still couldn't get it done. To me, that shows that yes, they're going to win a boatload of games. They're going to be great. But when it comes down to it, are they actually going to be able to win? I don't know about that because I haven't seen any changes to the roster. And as long as that continues, I have them at 3. And yes, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, "Wow, you wild for saying that," But hey, I'm gonna say it. I don't have them at 3. You know. So yeah. I mean, I have them at 3. I mean, I don't have them at 2. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I missed a lot of comments, so I am going to I'm gonna scroll kind of towards the bottom. Okay, so Xavier gave his thoughts. Aces 1, Liberty 2, Storm 3, Wings 4, Mercury 5. Yeah, we're pretty. I mean, our top 5 is very similar, Xavier. Absolutely, just a little wiggle room here and there. But I could be down. I could absolutely be down with what you just said. With your top 5 as well. Um. Kojo says, I'm going to co-sign what Lou said. Quita's coverage is not only excellent, but also very positive. She takes the sensationalism out of it. I try to. But I'm not perfect. I am I am not a perfect human being. I have lots of flaws, and sometimes I will make mistakes, and I ask that you all call me out on it, because I find it very helpful, because no one is perfect. Absolutely no one. SC Bread, I think, says, Quita, don't hate the messenger, hate the game. What makes you so sanctified all of a sudden? What about Caitlin Clark supposedly ran into OSU fan and she tried to make it into something so drastic drama? Okay, so let me try to make sense as to what you said. One, nothing makes me so sanctified. Like nothing. I am a flawed person who is sharing my flawed opinions about the flawed world that we live in. That's what I am. I am as my pastor says, I am not so suchy much. I'm not. and I think people who think they are so suchy much are some of the worst people, because they think they have it all together, but they don't. And instead they're living behind a disguise that they show to other people, like, oh, I'm all this, but in reality you are terrible. I'm not so suchy much. I'm not. Absolutely not. Never will be. My thoughts about the Caitlin Clark thing with OSU. I mean, Caitlin Clark was running off the court. A fan was running on. In my opinion, both of those people were distracted. The fan, it looked like had a phone in their hand. Caitlin Clark, it looked like she was looking off to the side, and she caught the person right before they collided. Caitlin had a little theatrics, sort of falling down. She's probably trained to fall that way. I don't know. And my point was that you have to focus on the safety of players, and so that was one of my points. Another point was that when you have a player that brings in so much money to programs like Caitlin Clark, you need to protect that. So that was my point. Like, you need to protect the money, and so if Caitlin Clark would have got hurt, that could have resulted in the loss of money for lots of other programs that Iowa will be facing for the rest of this year. They sold out crowds basically all this year. And would these people show up if Caitlin Clark is injured? No. So it makes sense to protect the players, to make sure that you are you know where they're at in the event of a time when the opponent stormed the court. I don't have a problem with anybody storming the court. I saw this as a potential issue, and I raised it. I mean, I don't know. To me, that's not me stirring drama. I don't think that's what I was doing. If that's what you got from it, I mean, I didn't that wasn't my intention. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. SC Bread. But I appreciate your comment. I just disagree with it. I don't think I'm all that. And I stand by what I said about Caitlin Clark. A player should be protected, even if she ran away from her teammates when she shouldn't have. Yeah. Anyway. B Girl 1214 says, I don't like the idea / notion that Clark should be protected because she is a money bag. Everyone should be protected. No special treatment. I agree with what you said with a caveat. So yes, all players should be protected. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Um, and not but and um we have to accept the reality of things, right? Yes, every single player on that roster is extremely important for Iowa. Every single player on that roster deserves to be protected. Every player on that roster deserves not to encounter a fan and hit a fan as they're running off the court. And we should recognize that there is special attention around certain players. Caitlin Clark is one of those. Angel Reese is one of those. Dawn Staley is one of those. These are people who have an elevated status in women's basketball. And yes, absolutely protect everybody. Absolutely. But you also should be looking out as well with special attention to the people who are helping to make everything possible, right? So I don't know if I'm articulating myself correctly, but yeah, that's my thoughts about that.